Hi, it's Dr. Marian Owen. It's March 2021. It is the first day of spring. So, I wanted to talk about something besides COVID. I feel like I've talked about COVID for a year now and I'm ready for a new topic. So, today I want to talk about something I normally talk about at springtime because I start getting a lot of calls and questions about it, and that is the question of a detoxification. A lot of people, as spring gets started, want to do a detox to kind of jumpstart their systems. And while I do feel that if you're going to do a detox, spring is a more appropriate time than winter. I think a lot of people also use New Year's as a time to do this, and I think just from a energetic perspective, that's not right. I'm sure I've talked about that in another video. But this year, I'm wondering if a detox, or really any time, if a detox is an appropriate way to think about jump-starting your health. So I've just been doing some thinking about that and wanted to kind of blab at you about it because you might listen and learn something. So this year especially, I'm just so relieved to be able to sit outside in the sun, to be able to see the flowers coming up in my garden, hear the birds, get out of my very dark, very rainy winter, and feel like we're actually moving into our next phase as a country, myself as an individual, us as a practice, just all of it. So I'm kind of relishing in that sense of relief, and it's allowing space to reflect on just what a very difficult year it has been for all of us. I think early on in the COVID saga, we were all, can-do spirit, let's lock down and get this settled. And then the longer it went, the harder that got. A lot of us picked up new habits, filled our extra time that we were spending driving kids to soccer or going to church or gathering with friends. Well, all of that went away, and a lot of us came up with creative things to do with that time and that mental energy. I started painting. My husband and I like to sing together. We were doing that more. And I've heard from a lot of you different things that you were doing. And then it just went on and on and on. And as winter hit and it got dark and it got cold, it became harder and harder to kind of maintain, at least for me, and I heard from a lot of you, to maintain those kind of positive energy, that positive movement forward. And so now that we're moving into spring and more of us are getting vaccinated and it's getting easier to at least think about traveling, seeing family, reconnecting with friends, I want to encourage you, instead of a spring detoxification or embarking on a new dietary change or huge lifestyle changes, to take a moment and realize that you have just been through trauma. All of us collectively have been traumatized by COVID, no matter where you stand politically. Certainly the political events of the end of the year and the transition to the new administration were upsetting and traumatic. It's just not the kind of thing that we expect from our country, the level of rancor and anger. And so I don't think right now, while we're coming into a reckoning at that level, and also a reckoning probably on just how hard the year has been for all of us, it's time to embark on big new projects, but rather to use this spring maybe as a slower progression back to old healthy habits and into new thoughtful patterns. Rather than a 10-day accelerated process, I'm wanting to encourage you to think back on the last year I want you to slow down and wind back and think about a year ago. What are some habits that you had, that you developed, that were healthy, but maybe have dropped out of what you're doing? Were you exercising more and now you're not doing that? Were you being more careful about your sleep, getting to bed earlier, setting a regular time for that, and now you're not doing that? Have you started drinking more? I know that a lot of folks have. It's been very stressful, and alcohol is a socially acceptable way to kind of instantly bring stress down. I would say it's not necessarily a very effective one long term, but it is one that many people have leaned on. Are you relying on other substances? THC or even CBD, though natural, are still altering your own brain chemistry instead of sitting with your brain chemistry and figuring out why you feel the need for something like that. So rather than doing a detox, maybe think about, what are the things that I feel like I need to detox from? Why do I have that impulse toward wanting to do something big, to change something? And rather maybe set a goal through the spring from now until beginning of summer and say, every 1 or 2 weeks, what is a habit that I have developed that I want to work on getting rid of? Or what is a habit that I had that I've lost that I liked, that I want to get back? And putting into your life is sometimes easier than taking out. So maybe starting with the simple goal of, I was eating fruit every morning and I felt good starting my day with those berries. Just do that. Do that for a week. Don't try to do anything else. Your body, our systems that are recovering from trauma don't need shocking change. And I think shocking change might be more traumatic and might lock you into patterns that you already don't like. So think about, what are the gifts that you can give yourself? What's available to you right now that you can take the time for, now that maybe you're getting off work and it's still light for a few hours? Can you get that walk in? Can you weed in your garden a little bit? Can you talk over the fence with a neighbor? What is it that's been missing through the winter that you can bring back, that is life affirming, that is you affirming? And then once you've kind of built that structure up, maybe you can take on I'd rather not be someone who's having that second or third glass of wine. I'd rather be someone who enjoys one glass of wine, not every night. I'd like to be someone who does just turn off the screens and wind down and maybe meditate before I sleep. Or maybe you could engage in a process of just journaling and processing through some of the trauma for the year. Or re-engage a relationship with a therapist that you've had that you let go. Whatever it is you feel like you need to move into this next year more open to all of it. We're in spring, the sap is rising, you can feel it, the energy's moving up. And maybe rather than radically plunging ahead in our very American kind of way, it's time to just let it happen slowly. You don't have to be a spring blooming flower. You can be a fall flower and just let the sap rise and nourish you all through this spring so that you're ready with full energy to move forward in whatever is going to happen next winter, because probably something will. We just need to get ready for all of that. I want to thank my sister Marilyn, who I talked to this morning about trying to think about how to do this video. She's a Chinese medicine doctor and was really helpful in moving me from a place of just wanting to discourage you from doing something too radical to a place of wanting to encourage you to moving slowly and thoughtfully and carefully into this next era, both in your person and in the world. I hope that this helps you. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you're having fun reconnecting with friends and family and the ground. Be well, and know that we're here for you if you need anything.